Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Police Scotland have revealed that they have been asking former ministers about the SNP's missing £600,000. Not just the senior ones that we all know about, but others that were involved or were there at the time that have, hitherto not been asked these questions. Now they have. It's all been revealed that they are in fact growing the investigation, although it does have no sign yet of actually coming to an end. You wonder why. It's been a long, long time. But it's been over a year, I suppose, since Peter Murrell was arrested and released after questioning, and getting on for about 8-9 months, I think, since Sturgeon herself was questioned. They've had a change of leader within the Police Scotland. We've got Joe Farrell now. Ian Livingstone's gone. Farrell's now in charge. Don't know how much of a difference that'll make. She'll probably have been given her orders. And, of course, we've got a new senior investigating officer, the third one on this case since it began. But, of course, with all these changes, everyone's sort of having to start and read up on the notes, and perhaps that's why it's taken so long. There's been a lot of toing and froing between the police and the Crown Office, of course. And the police think that there is a sufficiency of evidence, but they are not the ones that make the decision, of course. It is the Crown Office that will formally make the decision of whether there's enough to charge. And, of course, the Crown Office is run by Dorothy Bain. So I will just say to you, ladies and gentlemen, don't hold your breath. Rumours are swirling at Holyrood that charges could be brought imminently. One source apparently said the investigation said that as it's approaching a general election, the Crown Office are a bit sort of hesitant to bring charges. They may wait until after the election. I still think this is entirely wrong. The charges should be brought so people know exactly who the criminals are before they vote for them, rather than giving them a vote and then finding out that they're criminals. All be far too late by then. It is a problem for them, but, the way I say it, charge them now. But the interviews themselves are continuing. Former cabinet ministers, as I say, who served under Sturgeon are being quizzed. As the cops are trying to sort of establish exactly the state of affairs and the timelines. But the latest revelations about these questioning is like a year after the big sort of news that happened. And then it went radio silent for so long, of course. The scandals intensified when they found out, of course, about the £110,000 motorhome, about the pens, about the gift sets, the big, very expensive sort of plates and dinner services, all these weird things that you'd buy that you wouldn't necessarily expect a political party to be buying. Then there's the mysterious case of Peter's nearly £100,000 electric Jaguar, which arrived and then slowly disappeared. It's all very, very suspect, isn't it? Detectives are examining whether financial documents have been forged, signatures have been placed where signatures should not have been placed by people pretending to be other people. It's all shady, but we all know this. This is, of course, the SNP. Shadiness is their middle name. Maybe that's what the S stands for, the Shady National Party. Of course, the SNP are keeping entirely STUM. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want anyone to talk about it. They keep hiding behind the line of it's an active police investigation. Oh, you can't talk about it. Police are still investigating. Shush, let's not discuss the problems. But of course, the problems remain. And for the SNP, these problems are worse. They are in dire need of money. And while the investigation rumbles on slowly, like a monolithic kind of rumbling, it's like trying to move the Great Pyramid, isn't it? It's moving that quickly, slowly, inexorably to a conclusion. But of course, while it's still there, while it's still ongoing, the sources of money are drying up. Corporate sponsors don't necessarily want to align themselves with a party or people who may yet end up in prison for fraud or worse. And especially given all the other trials and tribulations around Nicola Sturgeon with regards to Operation Copa and the possible corporate homicide of 4,000 odd people. And that's before you deal with the down stuff that was mentioned earlier today. They're just holding their money back. They're keeping their wallets tightly closed and they're waiting and seeing. Meanwhile, the SNP's money is dripping away, not coming in, not being replenished. And with the cost of elections coming up being so expensive, it costs a lot of money after all. It's not just printing all those shiny brochures. You've got the cost of the distribution. You've got paying for party political broadcasts. You've got transport. You've got all sorts of things. Elections are really, really expensive and they are lacking the funds. And they're not going to be able to field candidates in every single constituency. Well, they can field them, of course, but they can't necessarily afford to put the brochures out. And so some will lose out on that. They can only assume that they can get the way with the ones they'll win and then just target the ones they think they have a chance of winning. That's how bad it is for them. Their latest accounts showed 100 or 800,000 in the red. You can guarantee by now it's over 1 million. It only takes one supplier to complain and they may be forced into administration, much to everyone's annoyance. Not. And so there we go. That's the roundup of where they are as they celebrate their 90th birthday. What a wonderful, happy birthday to give them. 90 years and they're about to be destroyed through a lack of funds, through perceived criminality, and basically by the incompetence and ineptitude of a leading team filled with the most mediocre people one could ever hope to imagine. Marvellous, isn't it? And on top of that, of course, 3, 4, 5 different police investigations. Maybe for their 90th birthday, they can announce to the world that they are quitting, that they are shutting up shop, that they are closing down all the offices, that they're all going to resign, and that no one will ever stand for this party of crooks again. It would be nice to think, but I'd like them to be doing that from the inside of a jail cell, and for some of them, the jail cell that would be the remainder of their lives. Not likely to happen, alas and unfortunately. But Humza will be making his big speech over the next couple of days, saying what a great party he is and what a wonderful future they have. But those words will be hollow, empty, just rhetoric. We know the truth. They know the truth. Everyone knows that they're done. They're baked. Stick a fork in them and toss them into the bin of history. Thank you very much for listening. I think we should all give them a big round of applause for destroying a party on its 90th birthday. Well done, Humza Yousaf. Well done, the SNP. Thanks for listening. Bye.